Oh yes, legends, we are live. Let's analyze the situation here for the price of Bitcoin. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. We are getting a little bit of volatility right now, a little bit of a pump and dump. Stay cautious, of course, with some trading setups here, as we do have some news kicking in right now, which is 4.2% unemployment rate, same as, well, basically the forecast was 4.2%, ever so slightly higher than the previous month. We do have Chair Powell speech in about 3 hours from now, guys, so we want to be extremely cautious trading at that time, of course, because we could have some pretty intense volatility. Now we're just getting a little bit of a pump and dump. The stock market did get a major correction throughout the last 24 to 48 hours. We have been downtrending here for the last few weeks, so stock market is down from all-time high round about 15%. This is a significant move to the downside for the stock market, S&P 500. And Bitcoin is holding pretty strong the lows here of this entire range. We can see how value area low of this trading zone is actually maintaining pretty damn good as support throughout the last few days. Yesterday, we did get a double bottom scenario. We did tap our first daily level of support, which we did get a very nice bounce. Shout out to Aiden in the Legends trading community, because he did provide a long setup in text based on yesterday's possible first initial reaction trade trigger at the daily level. Basically a swing failure pattern, double bottom if you wish, from the Monday lows. He provided that setup in text in the Legends trading community, looking for that daily level to get the reaction and look for the rise to get above $84,000, which was the take profit zone. Okay, so overall, if you are interested in daily updates, setups that we're looking at for price of Bitcoin, also some altcoins, we've got several coaches there, you can join the Legends trading community. You do have the link down below, guys. It's every single day we provide those daily updates. It's the fourth link, guys, for anybody that is interested. But now we are here on YouTube. We want to analyze the different scenarios, the possibilities for the price of Bitcoin to see, hey, what are the structures that we're looking at, right? On yesterday's live stream, most importantly, we're not going to pay too much attention to the local volatility. There is a bullish case scenario. Of course, this drop was pretty aggressive that we just had in the last few minutes, right? Well, last hour, we could say, okay? Last couple of hours, right, where we did have this major corrective move or impulsive move. Now, that is the question right now. Is this an aggressive move for continuation to the upside? This is what we're going to be analyzing very carefully here on the stream, all right? So make sure to stay tuned. We like this momentum to the upside. It does look very five-wavy. Now we do see this move right over here. What is going on, right? Is this a possible low and we're starting an impulse? We're going to form a higher low and go to higher levels, or are we going to be forming a lower high at some certain levels of resistance, right, of confluence to then roll down? This is what we are going to be discussing here, guys, so make sure to stay tuned. Let's go right away through the comment section. I can see that we are live. Let's go, legends. Let's go. Make sure to destroy that like button. We're over 270 people watching at the moment. If you enjoy the content, guys, make sure to destroy the like button. You always support the channel like that. Of course, if you want to see me here almost every single day, right? Every single day. Let's say hello to the beautiful community, and we'll dive in straight away here through the price of Bitcoin. I entered a short from $84,000. I didn't enter for long since 81. I thought I was a bit dangerous. I thought it was a bit dangerous. It was actually a pretty good damn short position at the $84,000 region, okay? I will explain that right away throughout. A crazy wick, yes. Morning, legends. Lamal, how are you doing? More dump will come. Well, the price is very much downtrending. NAS 100, we know Dow Jones, S&P 500 got murdered. There was over $2.5 trillion wiped out from the market throughout the last 24 hours. So we got a major drop yesterday, okay? So lots of trillions, guys, over a couple of $1 trillion, which is a lot of money, right? That's the entire, more than the entire market capitalization from Bitcoin, right? So basically the entire crypto, the entire Bitcoin market capitalization on yesterday's dump on the stock market, right, is what happened. So it's basically the entire Bitcoin market cap was lost just in this 5% drop on the stock market S&P 500, right? Pretty crazy to realize how small Bitcoin really is compared to the US stock market, right? Because just by yesterday's move, it was over $2 trillion, and the Bitcoin market cap is just around about 1.6 trillion. So we can see how stock market is way bigger than Bitcoin and crypto, right? So let's go right away. It's over for the bulls, says Alex. There is a bullish case scenario, but I'm not giving it too much pressure, okay? But there is one, guys, and we cannot ignore the potential of the bullish case scenario, all right? It is there. However, what looks more attractive is this wedgie structure, right? We are downtrending on the market, right? It's inevitable. It's inevitable to say we are going to bottom out here and we're going to reverse and go into a bull run with the tariffs, with the stock market collapsing, right? It is holding pretty strong. It's probably just lagging behind, and we are going to get that drop to the downside, right? It does give you that feeling. Stock markets are down heavily. We also have the tariff war, right? And eventually we are in a big, massive downtrend. So thinking about a reversal on the price of Bitcoin, looking at the aggressive downtrend and what is going on worldwide, thinking about we are bottoming out right now and we are going to reverse in the next coming days is a little bit of wishful thinking, right? There is a bullish case that could happen. We want to explain that here throughout the stream, but the probabilities lean ever so slightly that we will continue forming a lower high and we will come down to lower levels, right? The favorite scenario is looking at the triangle, right? It's inevitable to not take a look at the triangle here because you are basically forming big lower highs, right? And you're also forming the higher lows right over here. So yes, this is getting squeezed and a big move is very much expected. Will that move happen today? Will it happen in the next coming days, right? Will we just get a little bit of local volatility when we have the Fed Chair Powell speech? And we're still going to be ranging throughout the next few days, throughout the weekend. And then next week is where we're going to get either the breakdown or the breakup. It could actually happen today, guys. It could happen today because we have the man himself, Fed Chair Powell speech. And we know that whatever he says can definitely affect the market condition, right? 66,000 Bitcoin someone is calling for. It is a target area. Below $70,000 is a target area, and that is the scenario, that is the preferred one, right? Which is literally a WXY, and we are forming a triangle in your X wave, right? Basically, it's this right over here. Yesterday, we were talking about this scenario not being the one, okay? Not sure why it's saved like that. But overall, what we're looking at is this scenario. Now, the question is your D point in already? Because throughout yesterday, we mentioned that we are highly likely not going to capitulate down, right? There's a high probability that we're not going to capitulate down throughout yesterday, throughout today, right? Not yet. And that we will likely find support beneath the low. Now, it was a very sharp move. The first level to get supported was the one that got support, right? It was a daily level. We had a daily level, a weekly level. We had many, reasons to believe that we could create that fake out and then recover and get a significant bounce. It all happened very quick. And it also got to the first level of support, which was a daily level. And we ever so slightly dipped beneath the daily and give you that trigger moment as soon as you got the reaction from the daily. You could also play out here the swing failure pattern, entry, stop loss, or much better entry, of course, at the daily or at the weekly. If you move down, you get back above, entry, stop loss, look for the bounce. You can be defensive, run a free trade, right? That's the kind of style that we do like, of course. Swing failure patterns we do enjoy very much because they're very easy to manage. Very easy to manage. You know your entry, you know your stop loss, and you know your possible recovery. shout out to Aiden, by the way. This was the long day trade that he provided yesterday. First initial level to possibly get that bounce when we're looking at scalp day trading opportunities. Come that down, sweep up the lows of Monday, hit the daily level. This is exactly the trade setup that played out. You can see stop loss, how you need to get into this trade, how it is a 4-5 to 1 risk to reward. So very, very nice indeed with that nice day trade scenario yesterday, right? Throughout yesterday and today. Now, what is next? What is next? Is it possible that this D wave could be in here? Because you could arguably discuss, yes, and we are in the formation of the E wave. Is it possible throughout today? And this is the moment, guys, that we want to be very, very cautious. We just got very local volatility with unemployment rate, right? Unemployment rate and non-farm payrolls. Non-farm payrolls actually higher, much higher than expected. Unemployment rate slightly higher than the previous month, but it was what it was expected. And then we have the chair power speech, guys. This is in about 3 hours from now, a little bit under 3 hours from now, we are going to see that Fed chair power speech and the volatility could increase. We want to be very, very cautious. Remember what happened just a few days ago with the tariff announcement, right? We were so much aware. I am not believing that we are going to break out here and get to the invalidation of this triangle and break structure. The market, conditions was very, uptrendy and bullish throughout last, Monday, Tuesday. We were uptrending pretty nicely. However, we did get the tariffs that created a pump and dump, which we missed out by a few $100s in hitting the highs. So it was confusing, but the preferred scenario, right? Preferred scenarios based on the probability was actually getting a lower high here and claiming $81,000, right? We're literally claiming the low from last Monday, okay? Which, we finally formed a lower high. It was just very tricky, right? Very volatile. We had the tariff news. Now, I think that today, it is possible, right? You cannot guess really what's going to happen when the, Jerome Powell comes out and speaks, right? You can't really say, well, this is going to happen, right? Or, if this does happen, we just don't know what's going to happen, right? Let's leave it that way. If he does come out, there is a chance here that maybe this is the D wave, right? So maybe this could be the D wave because you have formed a 3-wave structure right over here from this high. You have formed this, and this, right? Yesterday, we were very much aware that we will very likely not break down successfully below $81,000. Yeah, we could hit 80K or 79K, but ultimately get a nice bounce of a few $1,000s. And we had several support levels, aligned daily, weekly. One of them could get the reaction and get the instant bounce of a few $1,000s just for a nice day trade, guys, in and out of the market. So, now, could we capitulate? Now it's when we are getting close to the breakout, to the breakdown or the break up. I know a lot of people might be feeling very bearish, or some people might say it's going to be such a big, massive bear trap, and we're going to pump above, $90,000, give or take, right? So I would like to know your opinion, guys. We're going to ask the poll right away, but the stock markets are not looking great. Stock market is not looking great. So let's start this poll right away as we get the people joining in, as we get, the like button getting smashed. We are going to ask this, right? Are you feeling bullish or bearish for the coming days, right? Coming days, let's just say the coming days, right? We're not going to give it too much, just like for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 days, for the next few days. What is your sentiment, guys? Let me know. Let's see, is there more people bearish or is there more people bullish for the next coming days? As we are squeezing into the triangle here, and we are very much downtrending, right? The bulls, the macro bulls, of course, they will say that we are bottoming out soon, right? And a reversal is on the way, because on the macro time frame, of course, we do have this being a correction. So the bulls will say we are going to reverse, right? We are bottoming out, selling pressures getting exhausted, and eventually the bears are going to stick with the downtrend of the last few months, right? They are going to stick here. There are some bearish case scenarios eventually, and they're going to stick with, check out the stock market. Look how the stock market is collapsing throughout the last few days. It doesn't look like it want to stop anytime soon, right? The tariff wars. So yeah, I'm going to stay bearish, right? I'm going to stay bearish because of what is happening. Let me know right away, guys, on the poll that I just created, and I want to know the general sentiment. Are you feeling bullish or bearish? Let me know right away for the coming days, right? I want to know that sentiment. We got a fight here. Let's get those votes kicking in here, guys, because we are going to be seeing the general sentiment, right? All of these polls is to create the general sentiment, right? What is the general sentiment, right? Or is it going to be a 50-50, right? Lots of times is 50-50. So yeah, ever so slightly for the moment, more people are bearish, right? More people are leaning more on the bearish side based on the market structure for the last few months. The stock market, there's nothing too bullish to be about, right? However, as day traders, we analyze the market, right? We analyze the levels and the different possibilities, different levels. That is very complex, very tiring, guys. It is not easy. You need to remain patient. You need to wait for certain moves. If we do form this, then I would be interested in that. If we don't do this, then I'm not interested in this. You get the deal, right? We kind of map the situation. Yesterday's scenario, I was expecting a little bit more of a drop throughout yesterday's movement. However, the overall end game is to claim the low and start hitting, the next levels of support, which is the daily. We have a weekly. We don't know which one is going to manage the bounce, okay? I was thinking that we were going to get a little bit more of an aggressive move down before we got the bounce. However, we just ever so slightly got beneath the Monday lows, tapped the daily. We actually officially went below the daily, even though it was a few dollars. And that was the level that got the reaction bounce. So what comes next, right? What could we be looking at for the price of Bitcoin? Shall we go through the potential bullish case scenario first, and then go through the bearish one, or the bearish one and then the bullish one, and see the levels that need to hold, right? And what is the highest probability scenario? I don't really mind. I got a few things that I want to talk about. Yesterday's scenario, well, that was it, right? The probabilities of capitulating down with yesterday's price action was highly likely, was explained throughout yesterday's stream, guys. We were highly likely not going to capitulate with yesterday's price action, unlikely to get a successful breakdown here and, of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, right? Just basically get a big move down. And we're likely going to fake out beneath the lows, having the daily, the weekly, maybe this higher low right over here. But overall, ultimately looking for a pretty nice bounce. Now, this breakdown was very shallow. It was a very shallow one. We just tapped the low and hit the daily. First level of support, instant bounce of a few $1,000s throughout yesterday and this morning, right? So let's go right away through what is next, okay? Because, yeah, yesterday, it's covered. We unlikely, okay, going to capitulate down, and we're looking for a test beneath the lows of Monday and get an initial bounce up. Whether that is going to be corrective or impulsive, it doesn't matter. This was the highest probability based on yesterday's live stream, right? We're not ready to move down just yet based on this price action. This price action was not looking incredibly probable to get a massive wave 3. And what we're likely looking at here is an ABC movement. Now, I have to say, I don't like very much this movement down that we formed throughout the last few days, okay? A little bit confusing. It does count better as a 3-wave move, in my opinion, if you want to get fussy, right? And you want to go to the lower time frames, you would arguably discuss, okay, you can count a 5-wave move here of some stage if you do go to the lower time frame, right? If you use a little bit of your imagination, you could always say that you have a 1-2 right over here, another 1-2 over here, and then you have a 3 right over here. You could argue discuss a 4-5, and then you have your 4th wave and your 5th wave. Okay, you do have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It does look much better as a 3-wave structure, right? Could you count a 5? Yes, you could. It doesn't look too great, but regardless, there is a valid count. Okay, you'd have to say there's a valid count. So with that scenario, okay, with that in mind, what is also a very valid count, which we need to go through for the bearish case, is this as an impulse and all of this as an ABC flat, right? This was one scenario that we also mentioned yesterday. However, a double bottom here was not the interest area, in my opinion, to speculate on this flat scenario, right? Anybody that was joining the live stream yesterday, we were speculating on an ABC flat, right? Where we could get that, you know, sweep of the lows, get a bit aggressive, and then the movement to the upside coming down to the 1236, 1382 fib extension from your A wave. We did go ever so slightly to the downside. Like I said, the B wave here is extremely difficult. You know, this could be an expanding flat. You could dip well below the 1236, 1382. Preferably, we look for the lows and the daily level for that possible long, right? Or the weekly. But this was without a doubt one scenario that could happen. We got a few things here. If this were to be an ABC flat, which does fit very nicely right now on the chart, especially if you do count today's price action, because today's price action that we had since yesterday's lows right over here, you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? This counts absolutely beautiful as a 5-wave move up. It just looks so good. So good. So good for a 5-wave move. You got a bit of an expanding 5th wave. Okay, 5th wave looks pretty powerful, but it counts beautifully, right? So you would say, yeah, it's a possibility that you form that ABC flat. You want a 5-wave mover in your C wave. You sweep up the lows and you sweep up the highs. And this actually got rejected at the 382 Fibonacci from the high. If you're considering this flat scenario right over here, and you get Fibonacci retracement from the pivot high of the tariff news, right, to this pivot low, well, you did reject at the 382 Fibonacci. We also had a weekly naked point of control. This was a very good short position. You know, this was not announced in the Legends trading community. You know, I was late with the analysis today, but it would have been a very, very good short speculation based on the confluence that we had here. We had the 382 Fibonacci from this movement down. If you're speculating on a flat, it's already a good target area where the price could reject. But most interestingly, you did have a naked point of control, right, from the price action of Wednesday. So we're going to go through the levels, guys, just a little bit of education here based on different movements that could have happened throughout yesterday. You know, a flat scenario was a possibility to come to the 382. We did have a naked point of control. Okay. Also, this was from Wednesday's price action. So you have a naked point of control. You have the 382 Fibonacci from this movement down and the ABC flat. Now, if you want to be a little bit more perfectionist, right? If this were to be the case of being an ABC flat and we do continue to the downside, we need to talk about the bullish case as well here, guys, because there is a bullish case and there is a larger 3-wave move here that we just need to be ready for, okay? We need to be ready for, because this might be exactly when we have Jerome Powell coming out to speak, okay? I don't trust these moments when, you know, we have news. If we get a news, look at this, the news here from the tariffs announcement, it was a fake pump, guys. Most of the people are bearish. Most of the people are shorting because of the tariffs and the, you know, stock market, you know, moving down. So most will want to short. And what you create is fake pumps, fake breakouts. And then you stop everybody out, right? Well, everybody, you stop a lot of people, okay, that want to short the tariff news announcement. stop them out, and then get the movement down, right? Very, very classic kind of price action. So what could we get today with Fed Jerome Powell? I mean, it would be very interesting based on the bullish case. Right now, we're talking about the bearish case scenario, which we're going to have to see very interestingly how we pump here. If we're pumping with bearish CVD divergence locally, right? And we're going to roll down here very aggressively. Then we're counting this as a wave 1, wave 2, and the possible formation of a wave 3, or a possible formation of your wave C, right? You have an A wave, you have a B wave in a flat, and then you have your C wave coming down that potentially could maintain as support at certain levels, right? It is still very much a possibility. I'm going to talk about other scenarios that will be looking very interesting, because if we were to move up in a 3-wave structure later on, okay? I mean, let me just quickly explain here why, you know, this was a good short, guys. Apart from the confluence that we had here, the 382 Fibonacci with that naked point of control, all right, which was the point of control from last Wednesday, sorry. Okay, this price action right over here from last Wednesday. High volume node. What is interesting about this, guys, is, you know, this is just for educational purposes. You move up here in a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and inside of your 5th wave, you do actually count very nicely a 5-wave move here, as you can see, forming the 5th wave, a double top scenario. Local double top, where you have all of the confluence, the 382, the naked point of control, and it's the 5th wave anyway. So if you can detect the 5th wave of the 5th wave, then eventually you know that a big pullback could be on the formation. Now, yes, it is possible to form a lower high in this region, but there is a possibility of the price to move up as well. So it's like, well, that's not helping me, right? You know, what is the best scenario, right? If you don't know if the price is going to move down from here, or it's actually going to form a higher low, the main reason why there is a possibility of a higher low formation in this zone to climb up, right, to this area is because we do have a 5-wave move up here to the upside, right? We do have a 5-wave move up. So if the price out of nowhere starts building some strength, you know, and starts climbing up, what we are very interested is in this 3-wave structure. This possible 3-wave structure could be the deal. And as we do know, when we, you know, a lot of people are bearish. A lot of people are, you know, very much expecting the price to go to lower levels. You usually get these kind of short squeezes before, right? Massive short squeeze that we had on the tariff announcement on Wednesday, right? Most were bearish. I did ask the community, hey, what is your sentiment with the tariffs? Is it going to be bearish or bullish? I think there was about 60% that said bearish, but it started off with 70% bearish and then 60% bearish. You know, a lot of people were flipping bullish based on the momentum that we were having, right? Yeah, throughout the stream, we were just moving up, moving up, moving up. And a lot of people were kind of shifting, right? Oh, you know, this actually looks pretty bullish, right? Very strong uptrend. Well, this instantly reversed on the tariff announcement, right? You got that latest short squeeze and then moved down. So let's talk about, you know, a possibility here, because it's going to be looking incredibly interesting if the market does manage. Yesterday was another story, guys. Yesterday's scenario was sweeping the lows, not successfully breaking down and getting a reaction bounce. Okay, that was the idea yesterday based on this 1, 2, A, B. We want to take out these lows. Taking out these lows are likely going to be a fake out, right? That was the idea yesterday. So we swept the lows on Monday and we bounced. So that's done. Whatever we mentioned yesterday based on we cannot capitulate down, you know, it's highly unlikely that we capitulate. Now it's starting to be an okay scenario. However, could we capitulate from here, or could we bounce first of all and then capitulate? This is what I want to talk about in the stream. Okay, because if we move very aggressively to the upside, we are counting a three-wave structure. Of course, we could form a lower high, right? We could be forming a lower high, and it's going to be very interesting to check the price action at the, 618, 78 Fibonacci zone to see if we do have massive bearish CVD divergence. This does look aggressive. You have the break of the trend, right? Uptrend from today, broken down. Is this a dead cat bounce? And then we roll down. Without a doubt, it's a scenario. Okay, we're going to check here how the price moves up, or we are forming some bearish CVD divergence or not. For the moment, we do not have any powerful bearish CVDs. It was still very, very far away from the local highs. Matter of fact, we are forming these bullish CVD divergence throughout the rest of exchanges. We are forming lower lows on the CVD from yesterday's low. We have lower lows and higher lows ever so slightly, but they are there, right? The bullish CVDs are there. You have lower lows, lots of people shorting the market here, and a bit of absorption going on, forming a higher low. So there is that potential of, moving up here. There is the potential because we're not forming any local bearish CVD divergence. And that is very important to understand, right? Because I support the idea of the price forming a lower high. I do support the idea of the price action forming a lower high here. But very importantly, we need lots of longs entering the market, which is not the case when we do take a look at the CVD. We're not, Bybit, we have, just a couple of million entering on the CVD. We're not forming very aggressive higher highs from this pivot. It's lower highs and lower highs on CVD. Ideally, you would want to see CVD get a big spike up, right? Get high highs on CVD, lots of longs entering here, and lower highs on the price action, and then eventually you want to see that break down. But it's not the case. It's not the case. No bearish CVD divergence formation. You're still forming aggressive lower highs on CVD. Not too many longs interested in entering in this zone. So the market could actually bounce. It could actually bounce. Not many longs are entering, and lots of shorts have entered this movement down, meaning that, yeah, we don't see many longs. This could actually sweep up the highs. So if it moves up very aggressively, then higher we go, right? No bearish CVDs, market's getting a bounce. There is the potential of this being a 5-wave move. This one, to count it just as an ABC, yeah, very straight line, very quick. If you go to the lower time frames, of course, you could use your imagination and see a little bit of the price action, and you could arguably discuss, okay, if there were to be a 3-wave move here, not the most beautiful 3-waver, right? Very aggressive, but it could be it. Could be it, because about this move, we already retraced to the 7/8 Fibonacci. This is a very aggressive long position. Did mention this in the legends, but it was a bit aggressive. I had to say, if we move down very aggressively, you got the previous day point of control. Okay, previous day point of control sitting at $81,900 range. The 7/8 Fibonacci also previous day value area low, right? You have that ultimate zone that if you want to decide to get into a long position because you're forming a 5-wave move up here, regardless if you're looking for a bounce and then move down, okay, or a bounce and continuation to the upside, it's just very aggressive, right? It is very aggressive. There's no bearish CVD divergence right now, so you do have the chance of this actually kind of forming a V shape. It's been very, we do have news, stock market collapsing and a lot of uncertainty. There's mainly more bearishness throughout the sentiment, right? We can see that on the poll. But I'm long. Let's go. Let's go. Let me know if you are. Exactly, says Justin. Market is flipping. Let's see the stock market, S&P 500, getting a little bit of a bounce here. A little bit of a bounce. Nice little bounce here. Nice little bounce. Nothing too major, guys. I mean, when we do zoom out, you know, this is an aggressive move, but you would expect some dead cat bounce. Okay, a relief rally, whether it's going to be bullish or not, or just a relief rally and then continuation down. But it's about time. It is about time to get a bounce. So look at Bitcoin is getting a pretty aggressive bounce. We do not have any bearish CVDs. So people are not shorting. People are not longing. Sorry, my bad. You know, you would want to see here. You would want to see lots of longs entering the market and see higher highs, which looks impossible right now from this pivot. It's just not the case that we're going to see some bearish CVDs. So this might actually slowly grind. We're getting a little bit of a reaction right now at the daily open. Previous day value area high. Daily open and previous day value area high is the zone right now where we're hitting. Okay, daily open, previous day value area high. Maybe a little reaction right there, but it's not a great short in my opinion. Purely based on there's no bearish CVDs. We're just pumping up into the level. But that's where we're getting resistance at the moment. Let's talk about the possibilities for the next coming hours, okay? Because we need to go through what we talked about yesterday and what was the plan yesterday, right? To realize what is the next plan today. Guys, I know it sounds boring, it sounds like crap, okay? And we want to know exactly what the price is doing now. But it's too soon, right? I can tell you certain scenarios that could happen, you know, that could happen, and major levels of interest. Because like mentioned yesterday, as we were dropping, we were somewhere trading in this area. And preferably we get down to the lows. And preferably we see this as a kind of an ABC move and get a recovery on the fake out from last Monday's low. We could hit the daily, we could hit the weekly. One of those levels could get the reaction and get the bounce. And the first level was the daily, and that's the one that got the bounce, right? So yeah, after that realization, now what we go through is, okay, we could have formed the D wave, okay, of the triangle. It's there. We do have a new fresh low. We have a low, all right? We do have a low, and this could have been it. We do have a three-wave structure. That is what is most important to realize for your next movement, right? For your next pivot, it's important to identify that you have a three-wave move, right? This one was a complex one in a WXY. We were talking about this throughout the last few weeks. I managed to long very, very nicely this uptrend. Very, very good day trade long positions in this region the last few weeks in March. And the latest update, of course, was this zigzag, right? Looking for the lows to be claimed, but not breaking out successfully. So let's talk about this right now. You know, this could be in. This could be in because we do have the lows being claimed. You got a three-wave move, right? Because the lows have been claimed. It's a three-wave move inside of the triangle, and that's what we want to see. A three-wave here, double zigzag right over here. We've got the zigzag here, or a flat if you wish, but you know, it is a lower high, so zigzag flat, three-wave structure. What if the price, as we do have the news, guys, and this could be the bull trap situation that could happen. Bull trap here on Wednesday, bear trap yesterday, right? Kind of breaking the Monday lows, but instantly reacted at the daily level. What if the price gets a bounce here, forms a higher low? What is the ultimate target, right? That could happen. Could we fake out again to the upside? Well, this is what's going to be looking very interesting, guys, because when we do have a three-wave move, we have one wave, we have another wave, and then we have this wave. This could take longer than expected, but every time the movements inside of the triangle are much shorter in time. When you get to the D wave and the E wave, eventually the timing between E wave and the timing between the C wave and the B wave, right? You can see how the timing from each wave is shorter as you're contracting into the triangle. So what is going to be looking very interesting right now is searching for the zigzag up, because it's a possible move. When we do take a look at the bounce that was created today, and I'm going to say, look, there is a way in counting this as a 5-waver, this movement down, right? There is a way, not the most beautiful. It does look very 3-wavy if you ask me, but just for the sake of it, on the lower time frames, you can count a 5-wave and you can count this as an ABC movement, right? What is interesting about this movement, this bounce, we'll go through the bearish case scenario right now, which I think could be pretty aggressive, right? The bearish case scenario is looking at this as a first big wave 1, the ABC potential flat that we mentioned yesterday, right? We could get a bounce in this region, claim the highs, and possibly reject at the 382 or the 50% Fibonacci. I do not know which one's going to reject, but it's the two levels that you could speculate on the rejection. And the 382 was the one. Of course, we did have the high volume node from Wednesday, right? We did have a point of control from Wednesday that was not tapped, right? Fresh one. I mean, at 382 or 50% was the possibility of where we could reject it. And there was a high volume node right over here from Wednesday that also acted as resistance right there very nicely. So, okay, let's go right away through the possible bounce, okay? Because as mentioned, there is a way to count this as a 5-waver. I don't like it too much, but you'd have to give it a valid count, okay? I do see it very 3-wavy. When we do take a look at this movement, you could say that this is the ABC. It's already a 3-wave move. You claim the lows, it's possibly a scenario. What if the price does manage to form a higher low here without claiming this low and forms a higher high from today's movement? What you will be forming is a 3-wave structure. Could this be your 3rd wave and breakout? It's possible. I mean, this is a possible scenario. This is a make it, break it kind of moment today, possibly today. Or you just get a bit of local volatility and we range throughout the weekend, right? Not getting any massive breakout, but we are at the verge, guys. A big move is coming and could happen today. Either a breakdown or a break up. What will be very interesting is certain pivots where you could get into a very good trading setup. If the bearish case is going to be the case, which one of them is this triangle, right? If the bearish case is going to be the case, one of them is this triangle, I would say it would be a relatively quick. E-waves can be the fastest move. Maybe we're going to finish with the E wave today and then we're breaking down, right? And we do start moving down as we do have the Fed Powell, right? Coming to talk, coming to chat, and we get the reversal, or it might get a massive breakout. What is most important is to realize where the price could reject, right? If we do form that 3-waver. So this is going to be interesting. If the market does, you got a 5-wave clear move up here, right? From yesterday's low to today. If the market does manage to recover throughout the speech, right? I mean, it would be pretty aggressive. It has to be today. I think volatility is going to happen as we do get Jerome Powell speech in the next coming hours. So it could be a relatively fast move. Just realize that if that fast move happens, right, in the next coming hours, if we were to get a pump from this zone, you do have a valid, already very fast, possible three-wave move to the upside. I mean, it's there. It's a possibility that you do form that zigzag to the upside. You start getting to $85,000, $86,000, and it just turns to be another fake out, right? If we move very fast to the upside, as we have the Fed, Jerome Powell speech here today, this could be it. This could be it. You form a three-wave move up very, very fast. I would say it would be a little bit too fast, not too symmetrical to already form this E wave. I mean, this E wave could be, could take a little bit longer, but it is possible. Once you break above the local highs of today, this is going to be an interesting zone of possible fake out. Most importantly, most common levels in a triangle is the golden pocket to the 7/8, right? We explained this yesterday. From A wave to the B wave, golden pocket, right? Or 7/8, very common for the lower height of the triangle. The D point, golden pocket to the 7/8, most commonly. Golden pocket was the one. We finally did hit that golden pocket yesterday, right? From the B wave to the C wave. So it's golden pocket from here and golden pocket from here. So now in this E wave, golden pocket 7/8 becomes very attractive if you do form that zigzag. It would be very fast, but I have to give it a little bit of interest, right? Based on, we might get that volatility. And as most of the people are bearish, just like with the tariffs day announcement, most were bearish. And you would assume that most are looking for aggressive shorts, trying to catch the highs. People that had stop loss above the high here, such as myself in a small position, well, we're okay with the movement, just looking for a 2.5 to 1 risk reward. People that wanted to catch, the major levels or this swing failure pattern, it really depends on how you are, really using a strategy here to look for the possible rollover yesterday, throughout the last few days to claim this low. But what I want to explain here is zigzag to the upside, forming this E wave. It would be a bit too fast, but it's possible. I've seen very small E waves in a triangle, very fast in price action. You just get the zigzag out of the way, very shallow, and that's it, right? Boom, boom, and then this is it, the moment of breakdown. We capitulate, we are heading down to $76,000. It is very possible that this could happen today. We are getting squeezed into the range, right? Lower highs and higher lows, we are getting squeezed. This is gonna pop at some point. If it's not today, it might be on Saturday, would be rare on the weekend. It might be on Monday. It's gonna pop very soon. Either to the upside or to the downside. To the upside, I think has the lower probability, but there is a probability still to the upside. We'll explain that, that probability that is there that could pop up, and this is going to surprise everybody. Most are bearish. Most of the people, as we can see on the poll here, are bearish. I'm actually also leaning a bit more bearish based on the probabilities, the sentiment, the market structure. So we're going up, says Samuel. Yeah, very much. Yeah. It's very much pump and dump with Trump's pumping dumping festival. Very true. Yeah, we have 700 votes here almost. And wow, look at this. This is actually getting a 50-50. Are you feeling bullish or bearish for the coming days? Right, coming days being today, Saturday, Monday, right, for the breakout, because that breakout is going to happen, guys. It's going to happen in the coming days. It might be today that we leave this wedgie structure, just because we have Chair Powell, right, speech, and it could be today, right? It might trigger some kind of a breakout. You might say we're cutting rates very aggressively, which is a confirmation, by the way, in June that we're going to see some rate cuts. And then it just forms a big bullish reaction, right? The blood is over for now, says Samuel. We're going up. Yeah, there's a big mixed sentiment right now. Bullish. We have 𝗬𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗫. Got Jackie Wood, my mother here, that came to visit me. She's actually here in the other room. So you are feeling bullish or bearish. It's almost a 50-50, guys. Wow. Almost a 50-50. Ever so slightly more people bearish, but it's a fight between the bulls and the bears. We're going to go around 78K and then pump. Someone says here 76K. We need it. The liquidation. Well, if we do take a look at the liquidity heat map, below $81,000, there's a few hundred million long liquidations, right? They are there. There is a lot of liquidity above 89K. There is a lot, guys. So if we are going to see that breakout, if it does happen to the upside, it could really smash through $89,000. This is a moment. Yesterday was a-okay for swing failure patterns, guys. Daily, weekly, we are looking for the price to not capitulate down. We had many reasons to believe why and so, right? Based on the three-wave structure, we hit the 0.88. This is rare to form a wave 2 and capitulate in a wave 3. You know, very likely that we're going to, you know, form a three-wave structure here and get the bounce. That was okay yesterday. If you ask me today, you know, the swing failure patterns do not become too attractive. Swing failure patterns from the lows right now do not come that attractive, guys, because we have the three-wave structure and, you know, we have this little bounce that already would be very quick. I mean, I would rather see a three-wave structure better here throughout today, at least claim today's highs and then maybe break out. If we do break out from here, then up we go. But yesterday, swing failure pattern, daily level, weekly level became very attractive levels, realizing that there was low probability in capitulating down a few $1,000s yesterday, guys. This was low probability price action. And a lot of people were bearish just because we were downtrending. So the overall game yesterday, and this is not today. Today, the picture's different. Yesterday, with the price action, we realized, yeah, capitulation down is unlikely. We're going to possibly be forming an ABC here, get a fake out, and then get the recovery. It happened. Now we have a different scenario. Let's continue with this bearish case, guys, because this is going to break out very soon. Could it be today? Could it be in the next couple of days? We're just going to get some internal volatility here throughout today, and the weekend's going to be a bit rangy, and then the breakout happens on Monday. Very possible, right? Also a possibility, but it's going to be very, very soon where we get that breakout, and today is an option. It's possible. Let's go back with this scenario. Most common targets for a triangle when you form higher lows and lower highs, golden pocket to the 7-8 is very, very common. You have a golden pocket here, you have a golden pocket here. If we take a look at the highs from last Wednesday, okay, it's just projections and things that could happen, guys, okay, and levels to take really into consideration. Golden pocket to the 7-8, which is round about $86,000, right? 85,800 and even 86,900. These two levels become very attractive, okay, for the fake out. You could possibly today pump to those levels. Golden pockets or the 7-8 becomes, you know, a very much a possibility where the price could reject. And that's only speculating that this could be it, right? You got the A wave, you got the B wave, you got the WXY, you got the zigzag right over here. Could this E wave just be a fast zigzag? And that's it, guys. We get the pump and dump. And whatever Jerome Powell says, but then eventually, you know, we start capitulating down. The only two levels of interest that I'm in, you know, in this particular scenario right? If we were to pump very fast, as we do get, you know, the news tonight, Jerome Powell speech, just imagine that we do get the pump. Remember what happened with the tariffs. Most people bearish, most people, you know, interested in shorting this fake pump into the tariff announcement. This got wicky. Whoever was using a lot of leverage, right? A lot of leverage and had very tight liquidation zones, you know, got exterminated. Then the people that were chilling and that were just getting into a smaller position, maybe in putting a stop loss at the highs and just looking for the lows, happy with a 2-to-1, 2.5-to-1 risk reward, then they were okay with basically the noise that happened. So very possible zigzag movement that could happen today. It would be very sharp, very shallow. It could create that pump and dump scenario, right? It just massively pumps, and we know what happens when we have these news events, right? Maybe Jerome Powell is not going to say anything, and we're just going to continue ranging, and this extends, right? This scenario does extend throughout the next coming days, more chilled, more in a chilled way, right? We just get some internal volatility, and then it's just chilling, right? Big fat nothing burger with Jerome Powell, and maybe we don't get much volatility. On the other side, it becomes very attractive, like I mentioned. A possible zigzag move here, you know, pumping it, you know, as we get, you know, Jerome Powell coming in and giving the speech. Golden pocket to the 7-8 is the common area, and 7-8 would be very, wow, you know, it's tricky, but this could be the moment where it collapses down. We are downtrending. We are in a possible triangle. We need to think about the levels where we could reject. And the only levels that become attractive is the golden pocket, that's it, or the 7-8. Depending on the reaction, right? You can enter, you know, a possible trading setup right there, looking for the lows and looking for a breakdown. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting. Let's talk about the local. Let's talk about the bullish case. We want to talk about the bullish case. So overall, for this triangle, today we could get a volatile move. It might first be up, guys. We know the deal. If it's first up, then it's probably down. If it's first down, you know, it might be up later on. But this one is attractive based on the triangle, right? Get the movement up and create that fake out. Again, just like we did have here on Wednesday. Possible fake out scenario, golden pocket or 7-8 could be the attractive level where it rolls back down and then it finally breaks down, right? We finally break below 81K and go to 78, 76K maybe, right? Throughout the weekend, it becomes so aggressive. It's just a massive rollover to the downside. So the only levels that become attractive for this scenario, as mentioned, in a triangle, golden pocket or 7-8. From A wave to B wave, golden pocket. From B wave to C wave, golden pocket. And this was yesterday. From C wave to D wave, same scenario. Pivot high to the pivot low, golden pocket to the 7-8. 86K area to the 87K area. This area would be like the fake out zone. Either golden pocket or 7-8 for the swing failure pattern, right? For the rejection. It's a possibility. It's an option. We might just roll over from here now. And then we need to talk about the other different scenarios that could happen. But just in case we do not claim the lows from yesterday at 81,100 and we do maintain a higher low, right? Just in case we do maintain a higher low here, which is possible. It is possible. Why is it possible? The main reason it's possible is because we already formed a zigzag here throughout the last few days. We already formed a zigzag, well, flat zigzag, right? Doesn't really matter. Both are valid. And the movement of today, between yesterday and today, is a 5-wave structure. it is a 5-wave move up. You do have the bearish case, of course, as well, but you just need to give the possibilities. The possibilities are there. You have the 3-wave structure here. You got a 5-wave move up between yesterday and today. Why not form a higher low here and pump above today's highs? Is it possible? Well, absolutely. If it does happen, we have a 3-wave move up. Where the level becomes interesting for the rejection, the fake out zone, as mentioned, is the golden pocket to the 7/8. Because that is the common level for the targets of your triangle, as explained here with these pivots. So this would be the zone of the fake out. It would be the zone of, we are pumping, baby. We are going to go to 90, 93K. And it is possible based on the scenario that I'm going to explain, but it would be the bull trap area. This is going to be very interesting to see if we do get up there. It's a 3-wave move and you're hitting the target zones of your triangle, right? For the E wave, for the last possible wave here. And then it gets the breakdown, guys. Then this is it, right? This could happen today just because we have big news, right? We got the big man here coming to give his speech and we do not know what could happen. You know, it might be a big fat nothing burger. It might be extremely bearish or extremely bullish. If it's extremely bearish, you would be expecting that fake pump, right? With the tariffs, we had a massive fake bull trap. And then eventually, as people were expecting the bearishness, that was the level that rejected, right? Most are bearish, not by much. 53% are bearish, 47% are bullish for the next coming days. Interesting. It's a 50-50. So anyway, this is one scenario. You got another zigzag ABC possibility to golden pocket or 7/8 to create the bullish fake out. And then this would be the one that actually creates the sell-off. Much larger than the one that we had on Wednesday, right? From the tariffs. This would be the one that actually capitulates down and drops maybe $8,000, $10,000. Right? So it's very, very possible, guys. We come into that line. Last line in the sand, right? Let's go through other scenarios, right? That is one scenario. For this scenario, this area becomes very attractive to check the reaction from golden pocket and 7/8. That's one scenario out of many, guys. One scenario out of many. Of course, the price could break down from this zone already and create another movement down. If that were to be the case, we do have a possibility, okay, of the price forming a contracting move down or just moving down very impulsively. It will be very, very interesting to see. But, you know, your question right now, what if we break down from here? What if the price does break down from here? As mentioned, it could be that the price does break down from this zone. Why could it do so? Is because with this price action that we had throughout the drop of Wednesday, very aggressive move. This is not my favorite kind of, as mentioned, there is a hidden 5-wave move here. There is a hidden 5-wave move, if you wish. There is a way to find a 5-wave move, not the best looking one, but regardless, it is there. But what if we break down from here? What if we do break down from the lows? What could we expect? Could we capitulate down? There is the risk to capitulate down eventually. There is that risk now. Now there is a bit of risk of capitulation. I wouldn't be too sure of long in here in this area, such as the weekly level, right? However, it's very much a possibility, right? Why is it possible to capitulate down? purely based on just looking at the local price action, we do have that ABC movement, right? This is a scenario that we mentioned yesterday, guys. I'm not sure if anybody did manage. It was one scenario that was mentioned on yesterday's, this was before yesterday's stream, when from the tariffs, right? Looking for that possible fake out scenario and then we're rolling back down to the lows. But yeah, it's a scenario that we mentioned on yesterday's stream about the ABC, right? Very possible, very, very possible. Eventually, if this is an ABC flat, what you're looking at is this being a wave 1 and there's a wave 2. It's maybe it could be the case. Now, this is where it becomes dangerous to speculate on swing failure patterns or looking for the support that we had here yesterday. Yesterday was very attractive to get the bounce. Today it doesn't come too attractive. You know, I wouldn't be too aggressive with any longs in this zone. I would remain patient because now there is the risk of capitulation. There is a little bit of risk of capitulation here, because if this turns out to be a wave 1 and this turns out to be a wave 2 in an ABC flat, we don't know if we're going to form an aggressive third wave here. Okay, we just don't know. There is risk right now of capitulating down, so it's not going to be too attractive to try and catch, you know, the weekly level, get the reaction at the weekly. It's possible, but you know, it becomes risky at this moment. If you don't manage risk, this is not a zone to add to long positions, right? Or get into an epic long. We're going to bounce at some stage. No, it does not become attractive anymore because the risk of forming a wave 3 is there. I don't know how this wave 3 could develop. It could be massive. So it becomes risky today to speculate on liquidity grabs here from the low. You know, this could actually break down based on this reason. You have a major drop on Wednesday, ABC flat throughout yesterday and today, and then now wave 3 on the formation, right? Like, oh, you know, very dangerous area to speculate on longs at certain levels of support here. It does become dangerous with this price action. So I would remain patient because there is, and this is highly speculative at the moment, and we could talk about this if we do get a bounce. If we were to drop down from here and find some support and get another bounce here and then move to the downside, if we were to move like this throughout the weekend, throughout today and tomorrow, then you would arguably discuss, okay, you know, this would be looking good. If we do get a nice bounce, a 3-wave structure, and then we move down, I would be interested then to look for a long at support after this initial bounce if we lose these lows. And I'm going to explain why. This first move down becomes risky. It could be a third wave. You could capitulate. I don't know. But if we do bounce after claiming the lows of yesterday, say that we drop another $1,000 and it does bounce in a 3-wave structure to then roll back down, then this movement down becomes very attractive to look for the longs or a double bottom, and I'll explain exactly why right now. Well, you would see why. Okay, and this is, you don't want to speculate on this. We can talk about it because it's a move that could happen. It's literally looking for that contracting move, right? You're looking for a contracting 5-wave move to the downside. Eventually, you're speculating in too many waves here. And I don't have a crystal ball, but I realize that if you drop down beneath $81,000 and you get a recovery bounce, then the next low, I would be interested in looking for a double bottom, stop loss beneath the low, right? Or the week, well, it depends on the levels that we do have down here. But, you know, just to explain it in a nutshell, a double bottom, you would be looking at a double bottom from this low, get beneath the low, and on the recovery, in my opinion, could be attractive for a decent bounce. What this would mean is that you're still inside of this possible ABC. However, the C wave is in the development, right? Your C wave from this pivot is this contracting move. We don't, you know, this is big speculation, guys, okay? I need these two movements. Sweep of the lows of yesterday, coming down to 80K or below 80K, doesn't matter, but get a decent bounce. And then eventually throughout Saturday and Sunday, after the bounce, come into the lows. If we form a low here and a lower high, this is the next move that I'll be ready for, because I would be realizing, hey, this is actually the D point based on this ABC. D point of the triangle, okay? This would be the speculation of, you know, maybe this is the higher low of the triangle. Maybe this is the D point, right? We should be putting this a little bit bigger, really. This would be the D point then, but I need that kind of contracting move. I need a fake out, a bounce, lower high, and then another fake out. So you have three peaks. You're forming that, you know, very, very volatile. Lows are tested, bounce, then you're looking for the next low to bounce. And this bounce eventually is the one that I would be interested in the long. I would wait patiently. This is the one that I would be interested to be in, because what I'm targeting here is, you know, most commonly the golden pocket to the 7/8 Fibonacci from this pivot high C wave to the pivot low D wave, right? And I want to be in this bounce. And you're just forming a larger triangle, right? At the end of the day, you're just still ranging. So this movement to look for in the next few days, I don't know. It will just give me a high probability long position once we do form one low with a poor breakout getting below 81K. Maybe it hits 80K and then gets a large bounce in a three-wave structure, then forms another lower high, and then this low. This is the kind of double bottom that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a double bottom situation here for an ABC contracting move to again get the three-wave structure up, okay? And you're just literally continuing the triangle here. You know, your ABC is finished here. I don't like, well, it's something that you can be ready for, right? Because a lot of people, if you don't have plans ready, you would just say, well, what now, right? What happens now if we come and claim the lows and we get a bounce and then we claim the lows again? What we're looking at here from the highs, guys, is a 5-wave structure, and eventually, you know, that's a completion of an A, B, C wave and a contracting move. So just be ready. If you claim the low and form a lower high, the next low is a possible high chance of a double bottom. The next low is a high chance for a double bottom. So it's just possible movements that you map and would just bring you high probability. So the first movement down that we do get, if we were to roll down from here in the next coming hours, you know, it becomes a little bit risky. There is some risk here to look for longs at support levels, right? We do have a weekly level. I'm not sure if we do have previous week and previous month is where we big range where we at right now. There's really not much support either, guys. I have to be honest. There is a bit of liquidity lows, as mentioned yesterday. It's just an area where we have a lack of support, okay? And the next leg down, yesterday's movement down was great. We realized about the bounce happening as well. This retracement, this pullback was only to the 236 Fibonacci as well. I mean, yesterday it was clear to look for the daily or the weekly or a higher low that we had from a few weeks ago to look for the bounce, realizing that the capitulation to happen yesterday with this movement down was highly unlikely. You know, you're not highly unlikely we're going to roll down here, guys. We're going to find support as soon as we lose this low. Daily, weekly, we're looking for that bounce, which did happen. We got Aiden in the Legends trading community providing the setup like an absolute master on text, guys. Right? People want the easy stuff. Well, we got Aiden here in the Legends community providing the actual text setup scenario on this yesterday, right? Daily, sweep up the lows. It's our first major level that could get that reaction bounce to sweep up the lower highs of yesterday at $84,000, right? That's the target zone. And you realize that is a target zone just because the pullback that we had, the bounce that we had yesterday from the highs of Wednesday to the lows, right, of Thursday, we only hit the 236 Fibonacci. This is very shallow for a wave 2 or a wave B. It's just a shallow pullback. This is why, you know, a double bottom here was not attractive. You know, we could have formed an ABC flat, but more attractive was the C wave, right, to the 382, right, which did actually get rejected today. More attractive looking for these lows to be swept, and either the daily or the weekly was an option. So shout out to Aiden in the Legends trading community for this text setup yesterday. Very, very nice indeed. Very, very nice bounce. And you're targeting the lower highs. And just because yesterday's bounce was extreme, you know, this is a shallow bounce. For the market to retrace only to the 236 and then capitulate down, you know, it's like, yeah, very rare. You would have to be in a very aggressive bear market capitulation kind of stage. But yeah, anyway, it was just very, very clear yesterday that a capitulation was unlikely, and we're looking for a major bounce to these highs at least, right? Daily, weekly. You just realize, you know, this is the information that the market gives you is the next information is very, very nice to realize what are the probabilities. So this is why in this live stream, we talk about one bearish case. On the other scenario, we could rocket from here and we could break down and capitulate to $72,000. You know, it might happen. There is that moment right now where this is getting squeezed in, and the breakout is days away, and it might even be today. This is why we need to talk about those scenarios. This weekly is old. We can get it out of the way. We do have a daily level here. I would be quite surprised if we do reject exactly from that daily. If we move up here and this ends up being the three-way, but this is why we talk about this today, guys. Could we form that zigzaggy move up here very, very quickly and we finish the E wave, right? This is one of the setups that we mentioned throughout the stream. It's possible. It is possible. Let me just clean the kitchen here 1 second. It is definitely a possibility. Let's turn this like this. Could it be? I would prefer not. It would just be too quick. D wave is in already with this three-wave structure, and now the E wave becomes very fast. Very possible, guys. The golden pocket to the 7-8 is going to be from the C wave to the D wave. Classic fake out zone here. Classic fake out zone. Golden pocket could be the one, or the 7-8 could be the one. And that volatility is coming, guys. This is a fake out market, volatile market that is just like last Wednesday, right? Big bull trap and then big aggressive move. And, you know, I would say that if this is going to be the end of the triangle, if this is going to be the end of the triangle, and this triangle is bearish because we're looking at it as a WXY on the higher time frame, it is a triangle in bearish market structure. So you would assume that the higher probability is actually breaking down, right? So, but if you really want to speculate on where the highest level you could get into, that could be a, one scenario here is actually the golden pocket to the 7/8, throughout today, forming this sharp zigzag move from yesterday's lows, right? Of course, the last few days was a large one, but today, as we do have the Jerome Powell speech, it could be a sharp one, and then it's a kind of a fake out, and then that's the one, guys. This is, it's kind of the perfect moment to do something like this. Golden pocket and the 7/8 are the levels, guys. Be cautious. There is a bullish case, and we need to talk about the bullish case. The other scenario, as mentioned, maybe this D wave is not finished. If it were not to be finished, what we want to see is a leg down, a bounce, another leg down, and this would be an awesome double bottom speculation for the bounce here, right? But I'm not interested in the first leg down to swing failure pattern from this low, for example. I mean, it could, but it's just a risky scenario based on a 1, 2, 3, and it just moves down. I don't think it would be the case, but it's just a risky scenario. Preferably, we do get that leg down, we do get the bounce, and then we form a bit of a wedgie structure. And then we have the ABC, and the fifth wave is where you want to look for that double bottom. Entry zone, stop loss, you're targeting the highs here. You're targeting the golden pocket basically from the highs to the lows to the 7/8 Fibonacci. It's just a classic way of how the price action would move. But you need the lows here. You need one more low and you need one more lower high. Then you can speculate on the double bottom. So we need a bit of more information here. We need information, and anything else can happen, right? You can't speculate on a contracting move when you only have your second wave, right? It's like, we need those two waves, okay? One low and one lower high. Then this becomes very interesting bounce. So yeah, there's a couple of scenarios, a couple of movements that could happen. We're going to talk about the extreme bullish case scenario right now. Let me double check how many likes we do have, just for anybody as well that is not trading. Weeks is a great platform. You do have the 50% deposit bonus. This has been going on for a couple of weeks. I think it's going to be for another 1 to 2 weeks. I need to speak to the team here, because this is absolutely crazy. People are enjoying this deposit bonus. It's $1,000 maximum cap. You deposit $2,000, you're getting $1,000. How to get this bonus is that you deposit into your futures account. Okay, if you do have it in your spot account, you transfer it to futures account where you're doing your trading, and in 48 to 72 hours, you're getting your 50% airdrop. It's a maximum of $1,000. Okay. Take advantage, guys. You also get 25% fee reduction, and that is by signing up with the second link down below in the description, guys. Check out Weeks, 50% deposit bonus. Absolutely awesome. They will get this bonus out of the way very soon, I'm very sure. Very attractive bonus, okay? 1K cap and 25% fee reduction. You can choose to sign up with an email and a password as well if you want, okay? I know Bybit, a lot of people cannot trade on Bybit. Bybit is my #1 trading platform, but a lot of people can't trade on Bybit, okay? A lot of people cannot trade on Bybit based on giving too much information, and Weeks gives that option. Just signing up with an email and a password. That's it, guys. They do have a $50,000 maximum withdrawal limit, basically, when you sign up with an email and a password, which is a lot. That's by every day, right? Every day limit is 50K, which is mainly enough for most of the people, right? All right, let's go through the bullish case scenario. I need to go through the comment section, but before we go through the comment section, I want to see how many likes we do have. Because if we 250 likes with almost 900 people watching, there's no way, legends. I mean, this really does support the channel. It does give me energy. There is one extreme bullish case scenario that has low probability, but market is here to surprise us. If the probability is there, it needs to be talked about. Sometimes there are low probability scenarios that we talk about that actually play out. And we need to talk about it because there is one. But we will talk about it as soon as we get to 350 likes, guys. Let's get to 50 likes. I'm just going to go and take a hike, see that like button absolutely destroyed, and I'll be back to talk about the extreme bullish case scenario for all of those bulls, all of those people that are bullish with here over 1,200 votes. We got 47% that are feeling bullish in the next coming days. And I assume that that's because most are feeling bearish. And there is a bullish case scenario, guys, and we need to talk about it on this stream. I'm going to take a quick hike, guys, and I want to see that like button to 350, and we'll talk about that bullish case. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And yes, of course, we will have to talk about the we'll have to talk about some news that we do have as well, guys. If I do get some time, we need to talk about a bit of news that is going on. All right, let's get that music kicking in here again, that deep house. And let's go through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. Okay, very, very important. XRP, ADA. Shall we take a look at some? I mean, we really focus on Bitcoin mainly, guys. We know that Bitcoin is the leader of the market. It's extremely good moment to DCA, in my opinion. Okay, guys, no financial advice. I've been buying some Ethereum, but I've actually saved some dollars to buy one Ethereum every Monday on the stream. We're going to create a wallet right now, regardless if we enter recession and bear market and we go to much lower levels. We are creating a DCA strategy just to realize how the profits are going to be in the next 1 to 2 years, right? We're going to be DCAing down. I wish we do get a bear market, because the plan here is going to be buying one Ethereum every Monday. And Ethereum is below 2K. And the strategy is on this DCAing strategy. Ethereum. Hopefully, we do go to lower levels and we do kind of form a little bit of a, little downtrend and bottom out later on in the next coming months, just so we can DCA. I mean, I do have my Ethereum bag. This is only for the purpose of, I'm happy to DCA here on Ethereum. Ethereum has underperformed this bull market. I mean, it's performed okay, but it could have done much better. And I do have strong faith that Ethereum is the decentralized network. It is the decentralized network where DeFi is built on, that will survive and do very well in the future, because we're heading to DeFi, whether you like it or not. And DeFi is the king of DeFi networks, okay? And my strategy here, just so you can realize the profits that will be made in the next coming months or coming years, is going to be very good. I'm very confident. If we do maintain below $2,000, we might even recover from here in the next coming days, guys, and the DCA is not going to happen. But as long as we're below $2,000, whatever the price is, I don't care. 1,700, I'm not sure if we're going to get that low, but it would be good to DCA. That is for sure. We will be buying on the channel one Ethereum every Monday. So this Monday we will start, I will transfer the funds and we'll be creating a wallet so we can stack up one Ethereum every Monday in that portfolio, right? In that wallet, just for the near future. And that is only if we are below $2,000. The moment we get above $2,000, we stop the DCA. The moment we get back down, we activate the DCA. Up, we not activated. Below, we activate it. I don't know what the market's going to do. I haven't analyzed Ethereum 𝗕𝗏𝘆 did a very interesting Ethereum analysis the other day, but you want to go and check out 𝗕𝗏𝘆. Okay, he did Ethereum analysis, very interesting, about this possibly ending the correcting structure. But he is in the Legends trading community. Okay, on Discord you can go and check that out. It's the fourth link down below, guys. You know, we have 𝗕𝗏𝘆, we have myself, we've got 𝗤𝗫 with altcoins, new altcoin projects, shorting the hell out of many altcoins. Is the fourth link, okay, to join the Discord. You got the modules with, you know, all sorts. You have harmonics, dailies, pointer controls, Elliott wave theory. You have all sorts there to learn everything that you need to know about technical analysis and trading. So getting a little bit of pumpy action right now. Getting a bit of pumpy action on Bitcoin. Woo! Getting a bit of pumpy action. We're going to go through Bitcoin later on. But what I want to, Ethereum DCA strategy, guys. This is the DCA zone. This is going to be the DCA zone. I mean, well, wherever it is, under 2K basically. And above 2K, no DCA. No DCA here. We might just have a few weeks below 2K. We might have a few months. Hopefully it's going to be several months so we can stack several Ethereum. And then eventually, I am expecting Ethereum to all-time high at some stage, which is where we DCA out. We take the profits. It's going to be a 2-3x on average. I don't care. It's a good risk to reward for the next coming months or few years, right? It's just a simple, effective strategy, guys. It never fails. It never fails. So it's DCA until it recovers. Never fails in the long term. Let's go right away through the comment section, and you will see it on the channel, guys. You know, it's just something to prove. XRP Moon. I haven't checked XRP. XRP Moon. Is it doing anything? Is it getting a nice little bounce? Still in this descending wedgie possible formation. Many would think that this is a head and shoulder. XRP Moon. It is getting a little bit of a bounce right now as we speak. Not interested in analyzing XRP at the moment, if I'm honest. Let's see what the community are saying. Yes, Ethereum at 1,500 to 1,400 looks really good, guys. If you don't know who this gentleman is that has just popped on the live stream, he might have been on the live stream here for quite a bit, but it is 𝗕𝗏𝘆, the absolute master. He is a coach in the Legends trading community. Make sure to go and follow 𝗕𝗏𝘆. Okay, I'm going to leave him here in the pinned comment, guys. Make sure to check him out. He's a coach in the Legends trading community, doing live streams there. Check him out, guys, if you don't know who he is. Great analysis, great education. Go and check out 𝗕𝗏𝘆, guys. He's in the pinned comment. Go and check him out. He's right over here. Andy, take a look at DOT and Atom. Okay, we can take a look at some altcoins. Ethereum is killing me. I know it is. I know. I mean, most of my Ethereum have been bought below $2,000. Okay, most of my ETH. I haven't been buying Ethereum throughout the last few months, I have to say. You know, what I've got on Ethereum is also holding from $100 to $200 range of 2018 and 2019. And I mean, I've been holding, I only sold 25% of my Ethereum round about September, round about 3,500. Then I DCA'd a little bit in this area. Obviously, I was DCAing throughout 2018 and 19. Very good price levels, 100 to 200. You know, easy to scoop up several Ethereum in that stage. And I only sold 25% of my holding, which was a lot. Okay, it wasn't one or two Ethereum, it was many. I rode all of the different, you know, I rolled all of the profits that were made up here down 75%, and I didn't panic sell. I just maintain, you know, the portfolio is there. So what I did is scooped a bit more in this region, and I stopped DCAing as we were moving up. You know, I'm not interested in buying the pumps. But now I'm going to do the DCAing strategy just for the sake of the channel, because I think it's very attractive levels. We want to buy when we're going down. Regardless of how low we go, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because, like I mentioned, you know, back in 2018 and 2019, I was buying and it was going down and down and down. And then C19 crash was the last crash. So the average buying zone was actually in a loss, you know, a lot of the times throughout 2018 and 2019. There were some pumps, that whatever I bought was getting in profit, but the real profits were up here eventually, right? So yeah, it's just a easy, effective strategy for the long term, right? Pump the likes. Andy needs likes. Yes, we need the likes so I can be hyped up when we do the analysis. I need to be hyped up for the analysis. We're going to talk about the bullish case scenario. Just a quick hello here. Philip, my man, much love to you. I got my moderators, 𝗕𝗏𝘆𝗽, Philip. Okay, Seb sometimes joins. Aditya, much love to you, my brother. Thank you very much, mods, always for the support. They're always here giving love and moderating here the comment section. Like guys, MCHDN, much love. Gringo, SPX is dumping and Bitcoin is not. Okay, yeah, this is why, you know, the stock market is dumping and Bitcoin is holding pretty strong. Maybe, is it lagging behind? Not KYC, correct? This is very true, my man. That is true. Right? I like to say that weeks is just with an email and a password you can sign up. All right? You got the link down below. You get 25% discount instantly as you sign up, right, of fees. A lot of people don't like to pay fees. Well, you do get a 25% fee reduction on your trades as soon as you sign up with a second link, guys. And you only need an email and a password, which is very attractive. I think you can trade anywhere in the world. If I'm not mistaken, there might be some places where you can't. I'm not too sure, actually, but I think most of the places you can. I bought 100 ADA just now. Absolute legend. Yeah, ADA, I think is, you know, will do well eventually. Let's go through the Bitcoin scenario. Bullish, extreme bullish case scenario, right? Which is, in my opinion, unlikely. But it's possible. There is a possible count that this has been the low, guys. 76K has been the low. It's a valid count. I know 𝗕𝗏𝘆𝗽 also agrees on that count. Of course, me and 𝗕𝗏𝘆𝗽 also do very similar analysis. Technical analysis done properly is technical analysis. 𝗕𝗏𝘍𝘽 also has seen this possibility. Shout out to 𝗕𝗏𝘍𝘽, which is a finished correction, which is this one right over here. It's a finished zigzag X wave here, another correction in this zone, and a zigzag ride over here. B wave forming a triangle, of course, very, very complex to detect, but regardless, it is there. It is a double zigzag where you have a zigzag move here, a correction, and a zigzag ride over here, right? Your X wave here being a complex sideways corrective move. Double zigzag. It's there. It's a valid count. There is a valid count. The price action that we moved in March, there is the corrective count, which is a WXY. We were leaning very much on a WXY throughout March. Looking at the 5-minute and 15-minute time frame, guys, you need to go and check out those streams because we were detecting longs here, and this one was, I got into a smaller long. I think I made about $600, $700, $800 profit, I think, on this movement. I wanted more choppiness. We did have some daily levels, some levels that were front run that I wanted a bit of more choppiness and proof of support. But I entered just a small position just because I realized how high probable this movement up was. Also, this correction right over there, beautiful level to long in this zone. You know, live stream from the 20th of March to the 21st. We were looking at this to be incredibly corrective and the highs to be taken out again. And we were leaning more on the WXY movement here. Double zigzag. There is a valid count in a contracting move, you like it or not. There's a 5-wave move up here, a very valid move up here. There is a valid flat here. You just have to give it the possibility. There is a valid flat. Low probability, in my opinion. You know, it's not the best, you know, best scenario, but it's possible. You know, if we were to move very aggressively throughout Jerome Powell, right, speech today, and I don't think we're going to get a major. I mean, you never know whatever this man is going to say. Maybe he's saying we're cutting rates right now and we're going to see some, you know, money printing activity. Unlikely that he says that, but just imagine says, you know, we're looking to print $10 trillion because you know, the economy's in danger. I don't know, whatever. And then we just pump out of nowhere, right? Unlikely scenario, okay? But it's actually it's interesting, but if we were to pump from here very aggressively, which is highly unlikely, in my opinion, it's highly unlikely that we break out. You would have to come to this conclusion. You know, this was bullish. This was a bullish 5-wave move. This was a flat. And then you eventually get the next move up, either in your wave 3, right? Or an ABC. But then we'll have to take a look at other scenarios. But the overall most bullish case scenario is this is a wave 1, this is a wave 2, and you know, you're going to form a wave 3. Unlikely scenario, guys, but it is a possibility. It is there. There is a valid scenario here for the bulls, which is, you know, this scenario right over here, ending your flat structure from the last week, right? Because this is a flat. I don't like it. Unlikely. We are downtrending. There's no reason to be massively bullish in this downtrend. And we have many other bearish case scenarios. There's this one. There is this one, which is not looking too great. I don't like this one too much, but it is also possible. Claiming 76K. This one also not only claiming 76K, but actually getting down to lower levels, even sub 70K. If this were to be the scenario also that we're looking at. Which is more symmetrical. This would be more symmetrical here based on this zigzag and the timing of this zigzag ABC with the timing of the X looks very good. The timing is good, right? And the timing is important as well when you're looking at the waves. So this would be pretty symmetrical in timing, right? It would be symmetrical in timing if we were to get that leg down. But this would be awesome zone if we were to get to 70K zone. Even, you know, below 70K would be an awesome area to DCA. I would expect a massive recovery on this drop, guys. I wouldn't say that this is bear market. I would say the amount of institutions and big players that want to buy Bitcoin cheaper, they are going to step in very aggressively on the drop that could happen. People want to buy, you know, the big money, right? Smart money wants to buy cheap. And, you know, I would expect massive amount of buying pressure here in this zone if we were to break down. Could be very wicky, continuation down, just a big zone of accumulation, in my opinion, that could happen on the possible breakdown. You know, I would be starting my DCAing again here on Bitcoin if it were to happen. Anyway, crude oil down 8%. You know what? 65 cents of a dollar. No, actually 60 cents now here, the liter in Dubai, in United Arab Emirates. I got a Ford Shelby F-150, 750 horsepower, and that consumes like a monster. And it's so good. It's cheap to put fuel here. I can tell you that. This is why, you know, big engines here are awesome. Crude oil. Let's take a look at crude oil. Not there, you know, long time. Oh my goodness. What a major collapse on crude oil. It is dropping down, throughout the last few days. My goodness. Down 8%, says Philip. Yeah, 15% in the last week. Wow. Big major drop. Major drop just today of 8%. Whoo. Holy moly. This was interesting, guys. I remember seeing this chart live when we had the C19 crash in March, okay? Well, this was actually April of 2020. The main reason why crude oil went down to negative territory, they would actually pay you to hold a barrel of oil because it's too expensive to stop the entire operation of pumping oil out of the ground, right? It would be terribly expensive to get that running from zero again, you would actually, there was like 1 or 2 days that you would actually get paid. I think it was 1 day. This was only in the same day, actually. You would get paid for 1 day. It was just a major event. Because, I mean, the main reason why is because you couldn't leave your home on many countries, right? Everybody had to stay home. Everything stopped except for transportation, of course. And yeah, nobody's buying oil. So the demand went down as there was lockdown. Very interesting event. I remember seeing this live. You know, if you actually had a day that you would be paid for. It was just an event. Eventually, I think nobody did that. But yeah, this was very interesting. $25, $20 a barrel. I'm not sure we'll ever see those levels again. Maybe we will. But very, very interesting. How oil, you know, a barrel of oil, $60 a barrel. Good price. Good price. Let's take a look here at the comment section, see what the community are saying. Low oil prices, good, no? Well, for transportation, yes, right? Trump responded, yeah, you know, there's these tariff wars are very interesting, guys. You know, they're very just pretty insane. We don't know what they affect in the next coming weeks and months. Could be very bad, could be very good. For the moment, a lot of uncertainty here with these tariff wars that's happening. We are decoupling from stock market. They are coming to digital gold, says Dave Cowan. Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say yet, okay? If we do see I mean, it is interesting because we haven't had a correlation with this drop, like an instant correlation. There was a lot of correlation here with stock market and Bitcoin throughout the last couple of weeks, okay? There was pretty much big correlation, but this latest drop, Bitcoin hasn't taken this drop, really. Bitcoin has held on pretty nicely throughout the last 24 to 48 hours. You know, Bitcoin hasn't mirrored this price action. Maybe it's lagging behind, guys, okay? Maybe it's just lagging behind and we are going to see that dip to get to the lows here of 76K, right? Maybe it's just lagging behind and we do get that event today. Who knows? Some people getting excited just because of this instant no correlation that we're having with stock market. I wouldn't be too, you know, we're not out of the woods yet, right? That's it. This is it. We're decoupling just because stock market dropped and Bitcoin hasn't throughout the last 24 hours. It doesn't mean that we've decoupled, I would say, safely. But it's interesting to see, okay? Bitcoin's holding pretty strong from this latest drop in the last 24 to 48 hours. Bitcoin's doing pretty damn good. It's holding pretty strong. Terrifically terrifying tariff wars. I want Chainlink sub $10 to accumulate more. I would actually consider buying more Chainlink at below $10 for sure. If Chainlink were to drop down, we got DXY with a major collapse as well in the last 2 days, guys. Very, very strong drop on the DXY dollar index. Chainlink probably at $12. I haven't even been checking. Yeah, Chainlink is there. Yeah, if we were to get to down $10 or beneath these lows, I would consider rebuying again. Rebuying Chainlink. I bought too much Chainlink here. I don't want to buy anymore. I've realized that I've bought too much Chainlink and it's about time to stop. Still in profits, not by much. If it does come down to below $10, I would reconsider the DCAing strategy again. But I'm happy with my Chainlink bag. But yeah, it would be nice to buy below $10 again for sure. Let's go. Let's go. I want Chainlink sub $10. Me too, my man. Would be nice to buy more. I mean, I'm happy if we were to go to all-time high in the coming months with what I have, but I would just have to aggressively buy again. So, yeah. Yo, what's read on the market? What do you think is the most likely scenario? Okay, let's go. I guess with Bitcoin, right? Well, we have talked about this throughout the stream. I mean, this is a very attractive scenario. Pay attention today. It would be very quick. It would be a very quick E-wave scenario. It would be a very quick end. You know, this is coming to an end stage, guys. You can see it, right? It's getting squeezed. The breakout is imminent for the next coming days to get out of this area, right? We're going to get out. We're going to squeeze out from this triangle, right? We're forming the higher low formation, lower high formation. It's going to pop out very soon. It could be today. It could be weekend. You wouldn't expect it to be the weekend. I mean, depending on what Jerome Powell says, I mean, it could be extremely bearish or extremely bullish. And the weekend just has that effect, either bearish or bullish, and it just continues the momentum of the breakout. But it's ready, guys. We are ready, and it's going to pop. It's going to pop out in the next coming days. I mean, we are talking days if it's not today, maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. It's getting ready. An interesting scenario that was mentioned on the stream is actually forming a zigzaggy move here throughout today, maybe getting to the golden pocket and 7-8, which could be that fake pump, guys. It could be the fake pump, fake breakout again, and then it rolls down. It's a possible event that could happen. You know, these are the kind of events that happen. You know, it's getting ready for this. Manage risk accordingly, right? Don't go too crazy. There is a bullish case scenario, which I think is unlikely, but it is ready. If it's going to be a big fat nothing burger today, and we do test the lows, bounce and test the lows again, we're possibly looking at a contracting move, and your D wave actually finishes here, right? We're modifying the triangle here a little bit, and we continue the range. You know, if we do form a low and a lower high, the next lower low is going to be interesting for a recovery based on an ABC C wave, a contracting move. One scenario that could happen, but it's massively speculative, right? We need another low and another lower high to talk about that. So, and then that would be ever so slightly bullish. It's a day trade long, little swing trade, might take a couple of days. If we form that contracting move, you need the wedgie structure, right? You need the low, you need a lower high, and then the next lower low is going to be attractive, right? And then the bearish one is, if you do not smash out through here, there is a chance that the golden pocket or the 7-8 Fibonacci from the C wave to the D wave right here gets rejected, which is the common area for the pivots, right? The B wave, the C wave, the D wave to get to the golden pocket or the 7-8. When we take a look at the B wave here, and then we check the C wave, it's a golden pocket that got rejected. The 61865 got rejected. When we take a look at the D wave, which was possibly formed yesterday with this zigzaggy move, right? 3-wave structure. It was also the 618 just gently tapped the golden pocket from B wave to C wave. D wave, yesterday's lows, was golden pocket from this movement. So you realize how golden pocket and the 7-8 is the target zones mainly of a triangle. So yeah, you know, this is like it would be a bull trap scenario. It would be a bull trap scenario. You move up, you move up, you move up. Golden pocket or 7-8 could be the one that rejects hard, and then, you know, this would be the breakdown moment, in my opinion. It's just ready for it. It's ready for it. So pay attention to that golden pocket and the 7-8. Be aware. Manage risk, of course, as always, just in case the bullish case scenario happens, which in my opinion is unlikely. It's an unlikely scenario that we do move up here and we absolutely moon. to, you know, plus 90k levels. Unlikely scenario in my opinion, but it's there. And if it's there, then you need to take it into consideration. What's going on? Love this scenario. Yeah, it would be classic, very trappy. There was doubt here, at least for me and many people on Wednesday, saying, oh my goodness, are we going to actually take out the highs? Or is it going to be still in the plan that was mentioned the last few days? Really analyzing this as a lower high scenario. I mean, we talked about the 7.8, the weekly naked point of control, and the 0.88 just at the end of the stream, guys. Stay cautious, because maybe the 0.88 is the one that gets the rejection, just sweeping up the local highs from the previous weekend, right? And it is the one that rejects, right? It's kind of this scenario that we mentioned, right? The most bullish case scenario is forming this 1, 2, 3 or multiple 1, 2. But then we were talking about weekly naked point of control or the 0.88, and then to get that roll back down to 81k. So it did get choppy. We did wick up another $1,000 to the upside to sweep up the lower highs from the previous weekend. And then we rolled down very aggressively, right? The tariff announcement was a bull trap. I think mainly, you know, a lot of people were bearish. And of course, you get a lot of people trying to short with high leverage and creating a lot of liquidity above the zone. And of course, you're going to get that wick, bull trappy situation. And then you roll back down to 81k, right? Which is what happened. Very difficult to manage, guys, I have to say. You know, the price was just pumping and pumping and pumping. And yeah, we did get this move the day after, right? We did move down finally. So, you know, what we're talking about today is that's, you know, something similar, right? Could it be another bull trap? We've got Jerome Powell's speech very soon. It could move up to that 7.8 Fibonacci retracement from the C wave to the D wave. In that zigzaggy move it would be very quick in timing, guys. I have to say, I would rather the price to range for a few days to continue, and then maybe break down on Monday or break out, right, to the upside. But it would be a classic scenario. Whoa, we're bullish. Boom. Another trap. This was the E wave. It's a triangle in a downtrend, guys. There's no major reason to flip bullish just yet. I mean, there is the bullish count. You always need to consider it. It's like, you know, it did break out. But the only levels of interest would be the 618 to the 78 Fibonacci, guys. We are in a triangle. Be cautious. It's downtrending. Stock market looks like crap. This was a clear fake out. We could get one of those fake out scenarios again today. Squeeze out all of the shorts. Boom. So the only interesting levels to consider a trade for me would be the golden pocket and the 7.8 from this wave to the D wave, which is the zigzag move. And what we are speculating here is a possibility of a sharp zigzag today, terminating, right? And then the collapse down. And it's about time, guys. We're getting squeezed here. We are getting squeezed. So the breakout could happen. Just be aware of the bullish one. It does have low probability, but it is disturbing because it is a valid scenario. It is a valid scenario. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Corrective flat. We rock it. Don't think it's the scenario it's going to happen, but some scenarios that we mentioned at the stream. And how will BTC go to 250k when it every time dumps? It will. This downtrend will come to an end stage. You will see at some point. Can you make a poll of bullish or bearish scenario? Stock is dumping, but BTC is still holding. Yeah, very true. I made that poll. It is. The poll's finished. It is there. I did make the poll. The poll is there. Are you feeling bullish or bearish for the next coming days? Out of 1,500 votes, 58% of people are bullish, 52% are bearish. It's a 50-50, guys. almost. Slightly more people bearish, but it's interesting. People are like, I see the reversal. And some people do see the breakdown. Legends, thank you very much for joining. Thanks, brother. You're very welcome, my man. Stock is dumping, but Bitcoin is holding. Guys, I will be doing another live stream very soon. Probably tomorrow, Saturday, we chill. We have Jerome Powell. We do have a speech. We do have the news, guys. Stay cautious. The breakout is imminent. Could it happen today? Maybe it could happen in the next coming days, but it is imminent, guys. We're getting squeezed here with the triangle, and we are very likely going to break out very soon. Stay safe with your trades. Trade responsibly. If you're not trading in any platform, okay, or you're looking for an alternative, Weeks is a great deal, guys. You do have 50% deposit bonus and 25% fee reduction. It's maximum $1,000 of deposit bonus, okay, which is 50% of what you deposit. $2,000, you're getting $1,000 and 25% fee reduction. To get that 50% deposit, you need to transfer the $2,000 into your futures account, and in 48 to 72 hours, you're getting that airdrop, guys, to have more capital for your trades. Take advantage, guys. It's the second link down below. Thank you very much for joining. The scenarios have been mentioned. Stay safe with your trading, and I'll see you in the next one.